Welcome to the Moving to LA podcast, an idiot's guide made by people who have no idea what they're doing. I am your host, Jessica Sprague, along with my gorgeous husband, Andrew. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much, honey.
Oh.
You're looking gorgeous yourself.
Oh, stop it. But continue or else our marriage will fail. Well, this is the second episode of the Moving to LA podcast. Last week we talked about our preparation to move to LA. We talked about just ourselves and kind of how we, came to be. So if you're starting the podcast about here and you're like, I have no idea who these people are.
Go just back one. I don't know why you'd start at
Well,
two.
because maybe they saw it and they're like, oh, that was kind of long. Let me start with the super short one kind of thing. So, it's your choice. If you don't want to know who we are, I get it. So, last episode, we talked about all those things. We gave a review, all that stuff. So we're going to continue on with our journey. Like I said in the previous episode, we've actually been here for a few weeks now. And so we're just going to keep talking about the things that led us up to now. Just kind of the most important things that have happened. And as well as traveling here. So, and what to expect if you are moving from out of state. So when we left, as we said last time, we left in a blizzard. It was extremely snowy.
And not the Dairy Queen kind.
No, not the good kind.
Would have preferred that.
Yeah, exactly. And it was, so it just kind of set it up. We both have cars, and so we were driving separately. We drove by ourselves, in our own cars. Except Andrew had our dog, D'Artagnan, with him.
I didn't want half the way.
Yeah. I didn't want to deal with that. He pissed on, Andrew at one point, which was just lovely. Cause we've never taken him anywhere, really, never on a vacation, nowhere outside of Utah for sure.
He's a gambling addict, so we try not to let him outside.
We can't keep him out there.
He tries to get to the casinos.
Yeah.
He tries to play.
Exactly. So
dice on the street.
So I was by myself, and then my parents were really nice and drove the budget truck for us. So we had 3 vehicles in total. Just filled it up as much as we could. We did sell as much stuff as we could before we left, so we didn't have to worry so much about things.
Big tip. Get rid of as much as you possibly can.
If you don't need it, just get rid of it.
Give it away, but get whatever money you can, because you're going to
lessen the loan.
You're going to be happier to have less and have more money, especially just because everything's tight space out here.
We decided to stop halfway, it's kind of halfway. It's a little further. It's a little more than halfway, but we stopped in Vegas because my mom wanted to do that. She didn't want to drive the whole way. We have driven all the way to LA before without stopping. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it is kind of nice to have a break, and it's Vegas. You could do, as Vegas as my Mormon parents can
like I said,
have.
He was in his
right, exactly.
atmosphere.
Which that was interesting because I actually booked a different hotel and then realized, oh crap, we have a dog. We've never traveled with a dog, and so I had to find a different hotel, cancel that one really quick and find a different hotel that took dogs. So that was an interesting thing to deal with. So we went to Vegas, had dinner at the Luxor, which was, it was okay.
The Luxor buffet.
Yeah, the Luxor buffet. And then we drove the rest of the way the next day. It didn't really have any problems there. It was a little shorter of a drive. I didn't feel like it was super uneventful. There was a point where Andrew and I pulled over halfway to Vegas, I think, because D'Artagnan peed on him, and so we pulled over, and
so I could pee on him.
Yeah. And as we were leaving the gas station, I was leading. I was trying to. We were going to meet. My parents were ahead of us, so we were going to meet them at a restaurant a little further down the road. And so I put the coordinates for that restaurant into my GPS, and I somehow missed the turn to go south on I-15, and I started going north on I-15, and you were following me.
Yeah.
So that added like another
40 minutes.
Yeah, not kidding, like 40 minutes to our drive just because we had to figure out.
So always follow your GPS.
Yeah. Well, I was.
minute,
That's what
right?
I thought I was doing, and then I was like, wait, no, this is the freeway entrance. What's happening? It was pretty bad. So that was just extra stuff that we had to deal with. Other than that, there wasn't really, besides the snow, that stopped after a couple hours, so that wasn't too bad.
Well, it was a night and day difference.
Oh, yeah.
Literally from when we left in this 30-degree weather and snowing blizzard, and then arriving in picture-perfect L.A.
Right.
just as, everyone
Like
imagines
70
it. It
degrees.
was sunny, 70, perfect.
The sunshine just does things to your mental health that, like,
People lose their mind.
Yeah. No, it just
They call it heat
immediately
madness.
makes you happier. And I know that probably people from California don't really understand that, but go live in a different state that is not sunny and hot, and you will understand what seasonal depression is, because it is a real thing. Like, in the winter, it is like you get so depressed, and when you come here, you're like, oh, the sun, that's nice, and to not have the clouds and all that stuff. So once we got here, luckily we had my parents just hauling everything to our apartment. We're on the
budgeting it.
That's
Everything.
true. Sorry.
We don't support U-Haul.
We budgeted it over here, and we're on the second floor of the apartment building, of a 2-floor apartment building, so we were dying bringing everything up. But yeah, really one of the hardest things about moving is just unpacking, especially when you're in a small space like we are. We're in a studio apartment, and it just feels so claustrophobic at first because there's so many boxes, and it's like just taxing being like, okay, where are we going to put these now? And I just want to live my life, but I can't do everything because it's all packed. But we just did a lot of unpacking, and then after
this might be a dumb comment for those of you who have moved before, but if you aren't new to that, write specifically what is on all of the boxes, because especially if other people are helping you move them, you don't want to constantly be having them be asking, where should I put this? If it's obvious, kitchen supplies is so much easier, as well as to organize. You're already going to be pissed off and not in a happy mood, and just ripping open boxes and realizing you got a bunch of books in the kitchen can be a little infuriating. So more detail and fragile and all that. I know that's a dumb comment for most people, but for the few out there who don't, get it up there and write it on top so you can always set them aside. And
also, before you move, if you're moving out of state or from far away and you do have to use a budget truck, if you don't already have a couch or a mattress or big furniture like that, definitely get it before you leave. Don't get it when you come here, because unless you have time still with the budget truck that you can go pick something up and put it in there, because then as soon as that budget truck's gone, all of a sudden you're like, oh no, I have a tiny car, or I don't have a car at all, whatever your mode of transportation is. And that makes it that much harder.
Right, and you can shop for the little things, obviously. You're going to want to, set up your place how it is, but it's just so much easier to have every single thing, for the most part, you need already just done. Whenever the truck is empty, you go, okay, like, we can set up everything we have, and it will be our place, rather than going, oh, well, now we need a bed, now we need a couch, now we need this, because you're just going to be so unmotivated to go and get any of those. And I'm sure if we hadn't already had the mattress, we would have just slept on some bed sheets on the floor for a few days, because we could have been like, let's put that off. And that's just, not something that you actually want to trade off when you can just get it done before you leave. So the great advice, get couches, beds, those kinds of things before you come, rather than waiting. And it's a little more expensive here as well. And like you said, unless you have access to a truck or just want to go rent one, again, might as well get it done in one big haul, especially if you're going to have people who will help you move it. And
there are some places that deliver, but it's like, you have to pay for that. Right. And it's not
trade-off.
If you're already paying for a budget truck, you might as well just get every cent out of it as you can.
Right. If not, you're probably not listening to this podcast for tips about how to move.
Yeah, exactly. So after a while, we randomly would buy things at, we did a big trip to Target, just bought a bunch of, we realized that, for some reason, in our living room, bedroom area of our studio apartment, there weren't any lights, so we had to, get lamps, which was really weird. And just kind of, we got some plants, we got some more pictures and things like that to make it a little more homey in here. But we mostly use, Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace to get, we needed to get a microwave and...
Right, and we had actually pretty good success.
Yeah,
a lot of people are worried, obviously, go together and try, never go into
if
a
it
person's
seems
apartment.
sketchy, just don't do it.
Right, but we had some good success and we went together on all of them and were able to pick up some pretty good things. So Facebook Marketplace, who knew?
It's good.
Quick responses and, at least people have to have an account already. So if you're a scammer, you've gone to the next level of verification. But
right.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, it's really nice. And to sell things, it's pretty good too. I sold some on Facebook Marketplace and got some pretty quick responses for the things that I sold.
Okay, let's talk about some first things first type deals when you arrive in LA that you need to just get done and get it out of the way so you can start putting your roots in town and as a California resident and all the other things. So I'll let you take it away from there. Maybe we can just go back and forth talking about the things we wrote.
Sure. So last week we talked about going to DMV. I heard that that's something that a lot of people just kind of put off. So I don't know how necessary it is to do it, but we did it the first week we were here because we're like, let's just get it done. We're not working right now. What else are we going to do? We already have everything on black.
Really want to get any
tickets
if there's some bullshit of oh no, if you've got out of state and you live here now, you're not allowed to have that. Or and your insurance doesn't cover you. It's something to look into with your car insurance, which, I had to change and we can talk about that later. But, all those factors, we didn't want to wait. Right,
exactly. And we also with the primaries coming up, we wanted to have a California license to vote and to register. I think we could have still registered with a Utah license, but
for the draft.
Yeah, but I still
upcoming war.
Exactly. But I wanted to just, I just want to vote as a full Californian, just make it as easy as possible because I don't want it, because you know how voting booths sometimes are, we don't have your registration. Oh, it's under a Utah license? Well, that's different. And
You're not
what?
Seth the
you
Green.
Said I was
fine. Callback.
Yeah. What a callback. So that's what we did, and then we also wanted to register our cars as soon as we could. We both bought our cars. It's completely paid off. We both bought them in Utah. I guess both of them are rebuilt titles, which we didn't know. Well, we knew that, but we didn't know that.
Apparently it's the biggest deal
in
the world.
It's if you bring a car and it's a rebuilt title, just know that on top of the registration fee, which was I don't know, $550 for each car, which was pretty expensive, you may have to pay a fee, a $350 fee for the California Highway Patrol to inspect your car since it's rebuilt to make sure that it is actually safe to drive.
So that's what definitely a tip for people who are bringing their cars in here.
Just
try
know.
to keep it in as good shape and factor in a couple $100 at least, maybe $500 to be on the cheap side, more if not to register your car out of state. If it was not a rebuild, I bet it would still cost an arm and a leg, but not the full amount you're saying, right?
And the way that Andrew was actually able to bypass the $350, I was
punched
not.
the guy in the face and grabbed the form and I said, I'm going, don't tell him we're married.
Exactly. No, the way we bypassed
it.
We took it to just one of those mechanic / registration
Went on
places.
the Old Town Road.
Exactly. And we talked to the guy and he was like, you either have to do this with the 350 and you have to like take it to the California Highway Patrol, which will take like 3 months because it's like a 3-month wait, or you can take it to the DMV and they'll inspect it. They'll give me the go ahead to do all the inspection and register it without paying the 350. So anyway, we both went there. Andrew was good to go, but because my car had a different door on it than was originally there, because I think the accident that it was in before I bought it, before they rebuilt it, was in the car door. So there was a different VIN number on the car door than it was on the dash, and I guess that made it so they couldn't bypass the $350 thing. I don't know why. I really don't know why. But for some reason, the way my car was rebuilt, I had to pay that money. So I can't say whether or not you're going to be able to bypass it if you have a rebuilt title, but definitely give it a shot because you don't want to pay the $350, trust me, because I had to.
Right.
But also, just in case you do have to, I mean, that was like a total of $900 just right there for just my car.
Right. You got nothing but a couple of stickers and some metal plates.
So just keep that in mind, that especially if you have a rebuilt, you need to make sure that you have like about 800-ish bucks or whatever, maybe 900, like I said.
This is such an exciting podcast. Yep. I know we're talking about
the first few are going to be
your cars.
Yeah, the first few are going to be pretty informational, and then it'll get more fun after this. I promise.
To get insurance, both car insurance, you're definitely going to want to update that because it's illegal to move to a new place and establish residency and use the same insurance. I guess I shouldn't say illegal, but I don't think it's valid anymore, as well as the police won't take it. So register your car here. It's probably going to be more expensive unless you live, I don't know, somewhere equally as populous as here. Other than that, you're also going to want to get renter's insurance if you don't already. I know this might be simple information for most people, but a lot of people are going to be first-timers living on their own, moving out here, and it's something you want to think about. And the cheapest one I found is one called Lemonade, so a little shout-out to them. They were about half as much as the others. I think it's simply because they're not a giant conglomerate like Progressive or other places, so they don't have nearly as many employees, and it's all online. So I would recommend them if you can afford it. Perhaps, bundle it with something else that you already use, but Lemonade is great for renter's insurance, probably in any city, but it was great to be able to get it here. So pretty hassle-free and get it straightforward. And I'll say one last, and then bounce back to you. Your medical marijuana card. You're going to want to get that if you're a user. Obviously, you can buy recreationally now here in California, almost anywhere, and you can have it delivered to you. So for those of you who smoke pot, I was able to get 3 ounces of flour, quote unquote, delivered to me for $75, and I, tipped the guy, but that's really insanely cheap. People out there who are not living in a legal state will understand, and coming from Utah, I had to pay full price, so it's very exciting. However, if you get your medical card or your medical recommendation, you don't have to have a medical card ID. Just the recommendation from the doctor that they send you is also valid. You can just bring that. It's easier to have the ID. So I was able to do it online through, I think, an app called Nug, N-U-G-G. Just Google it, Nug medical card. And they had a doctor call you over the phone. You send him your information. You send him a photo of your ID. They, give you a little diagnosis over the phone or whatever, and then they just send it straight to you. And the benefit with that is, I think there's state tax and one other tax, and you don't have to pay the state tax on any marijuana, as well as you can get the strongest brands and strains that they have at the store. So if you're a medical marijuana enthusiast, or you want to be when you move here, or you just like smoking weed and want to save a little bit of money, I would recommend that. And I'm sure I'll talk more and more about my going around LA, because I'm going to be applying at a bunch of jobs just temporarily to work. And I would love to work at a weed shop. And so it'll be interesting to see all the different ones around here, which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones are cheap. And I'll keep everybody informed on the podcast, but that was just an interesting thing, being able to get my medical ID. So that was an interesting part of the week for me, being able to sign up for not only the insurance, but get my medical marijuana and buy some legal weed.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely something that helps Andrew a lot. He used to play rugby, so he's beat up. needs some extra help there.
And I used to be Mormon, so I mentally beat
true.
up.
Yep, that's
fold.
That's the spiritual rugby he had to play.
Right.
So with the utilities that we had, we actually really lucky. I think all of our utilities are paid for. We thought that electricity wasn't going to be paid for because in the advertisement they said that everything would be paid for, and then when we secured the deposit, she was like, "No, that's not accurate. It's
right.
actually
So make sure everything is in
make
writing.
sure
for
that
sure.
like you." And we could have pushed a little harder and be like, "Well, look, this is the
Well,
ad."
I tried to push, but she was sturdy. She had a low center of gravity.
Yeah. So she said, "No, you pay for electricity." And I'm like, "All right, that's not too bad because we don't pay for anything else besides Wi-Fi." And once we got here, we tried to call them to, like, turn on the electricity, which it was already on, but we were like, I mean, we might as well, like, put it under our name if there was something. Like, they were paying for it up until now, and now we need to pay for it. But we were told that there wasn't a meter to measure, like, our electricity, and that it was only one big bill for the apartment complex,
right.
And so we're like, oh, so it turns out we don't have to pay any utilities. So we don't know what that lady was talking about.
How much of a struggle as well, yeah.
Right.
What she was doing.
Yeah, but that's super lucky.
What about the internet out here? How is
the internet? We were told we needed to get something without a dish, or a satellite. So we were recommended.
And no YouTube.
Yeah.
She said.
We were recommended Spectrum, which we've heard is pretty good, and it's been pretty good so far. Like, we only use the lowest amount of speed, and
right. And I think it's probably the biggest brand around here,
yeah.
So I'm sure people who are new to LA, that's probably going to be recommended to them as well, other than Comcast or the other big ones, the DirecTV packages. So Spectrum,
exactly.
It's been quick.
Yeah, it's been
going to
good.
play some online games
Cheap's
later
like
tonight, and
$50.
I'll see exactly how it works. I'm sure you can get higher than that, faster speeds, but not too bad. So I would say it's pretty equal to what you're probably already paying in a different state. So don't look to spend a little more, just look to save for what you're already kind of using.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we recommend just for internet. We may change our mind, who knows, down the line. We're like, okay, they actually suck. They worked okay for a while, but now they suck. So we'll update you if we hate it. The other thing that we did, we got a gym pass. Andrew actually got a gym pass to 24-hour fitness. How much was it to get that pass?
I think it was like $40-ish for me. Obviously, you can go to any 24-hour, and then another 10 to add you, so pretty good savings. The thing about, LA is just full of gyms, so if you have one that's local right beside you and you're going to be able to go to it all the time, there's just so many. I'm sure there's literal Hollywood gyms, quote-unquote, where stars go and you can pay $120 and just have the finest amenities. Those are kind of all over the place, but I picked it just so we'd be able to go to any 24-hour fitness at any time, obviously, and they were pretty good, decent facilities. But the thing with every single one of these gyms that I looked at, no free parking, so that's something to factor in is, okay, am I going to realistically come here all the time? I need to make sure that I think about this gym membership as something that I can afford if you're going to do that, because, spending $3 or $4 every single time you go can definitely add up if you're a person who goes every single day, versus you just parking on the street is almost non-existent. It's really to plan on it, right? If you randomly see something, but so that was our, and I like everybody I met over at 24-Hour Fitness was really nice and not too pushy, so good shout out to them.
So if the money's worth the gains, I guess is the question. So yeah, and I've been there once. Pretty nice. They have a pool, whirlpool, although the whirlpool was under construction, so but I thought it was a nice gym. It was pretty good. Okay, so let's kind of talk about a couple things we've done that we're not necessarily going to review, just a couple things that we've done that we felt worth mentioning. So we got here the week before the Oscars. We got here the Tuesday before the Oscar Sunday. And I love the Oscars. As we've talked about, we're big film buffs. I'm an actress, so we both just like really enjoy the Oscars. So if you ever wonder how to stream it, I mean, there were lots of different like bars and stuff like that you could go to and like fill out a ballot for money and drink, and there's like all these screenings, and you definitely can do that. We chose not to do it because, I don't know, we were tired from moving. We didn't really want to go out, and we have no idea if people were going to be loud and it would be hard to hear. It probably would have been fine. We'll probably try something next time. But we just streamed it here, and that was a really cool experience because we live a block away from Hollywood Boulevard,
right,
and then maybe like
down.
Yeah, and then maybe like a 15-20 minute drive to the Chinese theater on Hollywood Boulevard.
Martin Scorsese's car broke down in front of us, and
yeah,
we needed
so
our
cool.
help.
We beat him up.
Right, we beat him
it
up.
was really fun.
He said, "You fucking Irishman." We got in there with him.
Exactly, but it was cool watching it and being like, "Oh, that's happening just right down the road from us. That's crazy." And to see Parasite win big and make history. We loved Parasite. We loved it, thoroughly enjoyed it, definitely recommend it. We loved Jojo Rabbit.
Be a little quieter. I don't want the people upstairs to hear that we're down here.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they didn't know. They didn't know. We're so bored.
That won't make any sense if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, go watch it. You losers. Okay, then the other thing that I did personally, I went to, if you like malls, there is a mall over by,
You're a 60-year-old walker.
This is for the girls, okay? So shut up,
You're a speed
Andrew.
walker, or you work at GameStop.
Yes. There is a mall by the Chinese theater. I've been there a couple times. It's pretty chill, but there are a couple other malls that I discovered in Glendale, which is like a 20-minute drive from East Hollywood. There was one called the Americana. It was really nice, more high-end stuff. It was outside, had fountains, statues. There was a movie theater.
Of what?
I don't know. There's like a golden, like people who've seen it know, but there's like a golden guy. Who's like naked and pointing at the sky or something. I don't know.
Are you sure that wasn't just a homeless person?
Oh, you're right. You're right. And then right next to it,
gold caked on him all the time.
yeah. And then right next to it was a mall called the Galleria. It was just
There's two malls right beside
Yeah, it was
each other.
right next to each other.
That's LA.
I actually didn't even know that it was a mall. I just wanted to go to Target really quick. So, because there was a Target there, and I went in Target and then was like, wait, there's a whole mall attached to this? And it's huge. Like, it's like 3 levels, just tons and tons of stuff. So, that was it took a lot of time to just walk around and look at things. There's lots of stuff you can do, lots of places to shop at. So definitely a cool place, like if you just want to have a shopping day.
And it's free. Well,
it's free to walk around, yes.
You can be accosted by people selling perfume.
Exactly.
And watches.
No, actually, they were pretty good at not accosting me, which is
nice.
That's great.
So I'll tell one, earlier, was it today I went and worked out? Yeah, today. I drove by Amoeba Music, and apparently Ozzy Osbourne was there, and so there were people he's there for some kind of signing or whatever. There were people everywhere outside, and there were cops, and when I was taking a left, because, the gym is right by there were people sitting on the curb that had obviously were being arrested, and their faces were covered in blood, so they clearly had been, like, punching each other or doing, whatever. So as I was driving by, and I'm like, all right, that's as Black Sabbath as it gets. People are fighting in the fucking Ozzy Osbourne autograph line at Amoeba Music. So
this is what I want.
Oh yeah, he came out there fighting. Sharon, fighting.
We're divorced now.
Oh, are they really?
Well, yeah, for like years now.
Oh, obviously I didn't follow it.
Love is dead, is what I'm trying to say.
I see.
So. The other thing that we did was we went to the location where they filmed The Office. And Andrew, you can talk about that if you want.
Okay, so if you're a fan, like I am, of NBC's The Office, most people don't know that it was filmed here in LA and not actually in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Most TV shows are filmed here. You know, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is set in Brooklyn, filmed here in LA, as well as Parks and Rec and all the others. So you can go see the on-set location. They don't let you walk around and take a tour of it. They maybe perhaps just broke the set down. But you can at least park where everybody else used to park that was a member of the cast, and walk by the building that was once formerly Dunder Mifflin, where they shot in. So we were able to drive up, my brother and I and my wife Jessica, obviously. We brought our Michael Scott Funko Pop doll along and took some photos. I was able to recreate a scene of Michael yelling, "Dwight, you ignorant slut," in remembrance of it. So it was a lot of fun, and you can just drive over there if you're a fan. There's a couple of spots from The Office that they filmed around in that area that you can go check out and just see in person. So
okay, each week we review an LA restaurant and experiences in a segment we like to call
Reviews of Stews and Do's.
This week we're going to talk about the ice cream place Salt and Straw. This is a place that we actually went to initially in Portland, Oregon. We actually just came across it. We just were walking down some street and we saw this place that was selling ice cream, and we were like, that sounds fun to get ice cream.
Right, but it's definitely a West Coast thing.
It's super, I think they have it really only in Washington, Oregon, and California, so it's very, but this is good to know, because if you are listening to this and you visit any of those places, or you live in any of those places, it's definitely a great place to try out if you haven't. The one that we went to specifically, we've been to a bunch of different ones.
Right. It's famously co-owned by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah, he, eats 7 pints of it on his cheat day or something crazy. He loves the place. So we went to one, I think it was kind of closer to Beverly Hills. I don't really remember which one we went to. We've been to a few different ones. But they're all over the place in LA. You definitely would probably have one nearby. There's also one in downtown Disney. If you ever go to Disneyland, they have one as you walk in and out of the park. We love this place because their ice cream is really, really good.
True ice cream.
Yeah, it's so good. But the flavors are so crazy and innovative.
Like lavender, honey.
Yeah, honey lavender, which is super good, by the way. One of my favorites.
And bourbon, coffee, graham cracker.
Well, and even crazy ones. My mom got some, licorice kind. There was
crazy.
Well, no, it was I don't know. It was a licorice and pepper or something crazy like that. They mix flavors that sound not very good.
Right. They didn't just have vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. It was truly all over the place. No mix-ins or anything.
No, and it's all very unique. They have a lot of vegan options for people who are vegan. My favorite, besides honey lavender, because that might be my number one now at this point, but the other one that was my number one for a while is the sea salt ice cream. It's just sea salt flavored ice cream that's kind of like a vanilla-y taste, and it has caramel in it. A little bit
of that savoriness.
Yeah, it's super good. I really, really enjoy it. And they have seasonal flavors. Every single month they come out with different flavors that they either popular ones that they tried in the past and they're bringing it back, or some new ones that they thought of, because they're just constantly, that's all they do is just think of new things.
Expensive on the retail side. It's maybe $6-ish for just a single scoop, and going from there. But definitely one of the better top end ice creams as far as retail locations.
And you can try as many as you want.
Right, they got cool metal spoons.
Yeah, so you can make sure, because sometimes it's oh, that sounds interesting, maybe it'll be good, and sometimes it isn't good because it is kind of a weird flavor, but some people like it, some people don't. So definitely I recommend just try whatever sounds good, and if there's one that's really good, just get that.
Okay, and to talk about a review of an activity that we did, if you've listened to the first episode, we are going to take classes at Upright Citizens Brigade. We're big fans of this improv comedy theater. Obviously they do sketch and other shows, but we figured why not? We'll do a review of a show we went and saw and get UCB not out of the way, but one of our favorites, done first. So let's talk a little bit about the UCB show or shows that we saw and kind of the energy we got from that, as well as some of the people that we met, made it even more fun.
Yeah, so we've seen a few different UCB shows. The ones that we really like, the one that we've seen the most is called Bangarang, which is just an improv show. Usually they've been having like a monologuist come out, like usually someone that's notable in some way that you may know or may not know. And they talk about things within their life, and then they do a scene based on that. They haven't done that the past couple times we've been there. They've just kind of like talked to the audience or just gotten suggestions. But the point is, it's all improv. It's really, really funny. Just some of the best comedians. If you guys know who Betsy Sidaro is, she's amazing. Tony Charlene, bunch of other really, really funny people. Definitely recommend that one. It's on Fridays, every single Friday. It's like $12, so definitely get to that one. One that we tried was called Facebook. That one was really cool because that was run by the podcast host of How Did This Get Made, Paul Scheer. In that show, there was also Jason Mantzoukas, who was also on How Did This Get Made, Rob Hubel. There was also Seth Morris, who is also extremely funny, and just a couple other people and they just...
Chad Carter.
Yeah, Chad Carter, exactly. Very, very, very funny people. What they did was just talk to the audience, and they normally, because it's called Facebook, they normally look at Facebook and do suggestions on that, but they didn't do it this time that we went. But it was still a really, really funny show. And then if you want to talk about Smoke Show...
Well, we went and saw Smokes, which is famously one of the best UCB improv troupes, and so many people that perform in it just have success, everywhere else, much like the people in the Facebook show, but people like Neil Casey, Eugene Cordero, who else is in there?
Will Hines. Katie Dippold I don't think she's part of the normal cast, but Katie Dippold, for those who don't know, she was, I believe, the head writer of Parks and Rec, or at least someone who wrote a lot of the episodes.
Billy Merritt, I can't remember who else was performing that night, but really funny. And we met on our first time here. We wanted to make sure we were as close to first in line for the Bangarang show so we could, get seats, because one thing about UCB is for their main shows, it is sold out and there is a line on the street. So we met an awesome guy named Rob, who just, if you listen to this episode, hey Rob, how's it going? But he's super fan of all the UCB shows, so we were able to start chatting with him about, hey, what are the ones we should see, kind of the shows that most people don't know about. And he was the one who recommended the Smokes. He said, that's the best one. If you guys go, I definitely want to go with you, so I can, just see your faces and how much you enjoy it. So that was a local fan recommended that show, and we definitely recommend that as well. And it also wasn't very expensive, something like $7 or $8. Like I think the most UCB charges is $12. So if you're looking for a night out to have some fun, UCB is a great place, and they've got a couple of theaters, so shows going on at both nights, so that was really interesting.
And the main show that they do is called Ass Cat, which they have two theaters. One is on Franklin Avenue, one is on Sunset Boulevard. The one on Franklin Avenue, they have Ass Cat every Saturday, and then the one on Sunset is every Sunday. The Franklin one you do have to pay, I think it is like $12. But you get guaranteed a seat. With Sunset, it's free, but you have to wait in line. And usually, when we've had success getting in, we got there around like 6:30, and the show's at 8. So, and it was like we barely got in.
So you have to wait, but it is worth it. That is their main stage
show.
That's
where they get celebrities, like very well known, like the owners and founders of the theater, people who are very actively in shows and writing. Right. It's a lot of very
famous
good time.
People that have performed at that theater and still do.
Exactly. So it kind of depends on if you want to wait in line and get it for free, or if you want to pay for it, get a guaranteed spot. We've done both. They both were great, and so
usually the shows run about an hour. So if you're visiting, there's definitely going to be time to do everything else that you want to do that night. Fitting in a UCB show is not like going to the theater and watching a 3-hour musical. You'll be in and out and be able to go grab drinks that are nearby, or go to the Scientology Celebrity Center across the street. Whatever you're spending your night, Saturday night after that.
Exactly. Okay, so now it's time to do an improv scene based on something that happened. So one of the things that we decided to do was to go down to the store, I think it's called Stuff. right? It's like stuff, but then it has a hyphen in between the U and the F, or I don't even know. It was weird, but it was a cute little plant shop on Hollywood Boulevard. We went there and we were finding plants just to put in our apartment. We'd never done that before. We became basic bitches pretty quickly. They're beautiful. So we were trying to find some plants, but anyway, but you tell like how she was acting and stuff, like the lady.
It was a cute little shop, very LA. I mean, there's boutiques everywhere. I don't know how everybody says, oh, the city's so expensive, and yet everybody owns a boutique.
Right.
And it's the most
niche.
Niche boutiques ever. I mean, you can just walk down Sunset or Hollywood or almost any of those main streets and just walk by a million unique anyways. So this was one of them. And the woman who was showing us around, she was just so nervous about everything. Nervous to like not wanting to do badly or look foolish or any of that. And obviously I've been there as somebody who's worked retail before, but as she was walking us around, she was like, oh, and this bowl, that's not supposed to be in that bowl. I can get that switch for you, so don't worry about that. And these ones do get bigger, so don't look at it now as if that's what that will be. They get bigger, I promise. And these ones over here, they're real easy, I promise you. They're easy to maintain. These ones are not hard to maintain, and just was very worried. And as we were wandering around, and she went back and potted some plants, and she seemed very like, I better go online and find out all the soil content before I move it over there, and just was so worried that we were going to go, you don't seem to know your plants. We'll be leaving and taking our business with us. And no, in the sales sign. So as we're being rung up, she still has this nervous, way about her, and she's kind of trying to chit chat with us with this speedy stuff. And she's like, "So are you guys? You're new in the city. Oh, so you've been down here before? Oh, interesting. Are you guys vegan? You should come down on Saturday. We're having a local typist is doing typography of people's names, and we're gonna have a local vegan bakery, and they are gonna sell some stuff. So if you guys are just hanging out." Are you vegan? And I was like, oh my God, we are in fucking LA now. That this person, I mean, all those things are wonderful things, but just the fact that you're like, oh, you're here buying plants. You would like all of these other things, right? You'd like someone to write your name in a really cool way, and you'd like to buy some plants and have some vegan cookies and be on your way. You want to come back this Saturday, right? You're already here, so. She was an interesting person, and that was, hey, got our plants. We made it up.
We did it. Okay. Oh, hi. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Sorry, I was just standing in front of the door for a little while.
Oh, I know. I'm so sorry. I forgot to, unlock the door, and it's been a few hours. I'm so dumb. Oh. I'm so sorry. Please come in. Please come in.
Oh, of course. No problem. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's, just recently moved here, wanted to come buy some plants. I don't really know anything, so.
Oh my God.
I definitely need you to help me out.
Thank God you don't know anything. I'm telling you, the people around here, they're just so rude. They're so rude. I just swear that, anytime I tell someone about, this plant lives about 10 years ago. No, they don't, you idiot. They live about 20. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know.
That must be frustrating, but yeah, I just need grab a couple plants, make my apartment a little more lively, but got a lot of other things I need to unload today as well, so I'd love to be able to get, right?
I get it. I'm so sorry.
What here is... works for an apartment living. I mean, I'm new to LA, a lot of sunshine. I'm sure it's a lot of different things grow out here, right?
Yeah. So I would say,
is it normal? Do you hold every customer's hand as you walk around? I'm not sure. I just don't know about LA stuff.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to, this is my customer service technique. Is helping you feel safe. So the plants feel safe?
Sure. Oh, I see. They kind of get the energy from what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, I promise you I feel safe. What do we got over here?
Okay, if you're going to yell at me, please don't. I'm trying so hard.
Why would I yell at you?
Oh, I don't know. You tell me. You tell me why you would yell at me, okay? I'm being yelled at all the time by all these super mean LI vegans, and I need you to understand that I am a human being,
you're
okay?
hurting me. My hand.
No, listen. You need to listen to me. I am a human being, and...
I acknowledge that.
Okay.
I don't have a problem.
Okay. All right.
I might not want to get some...
No, please.
Today.
My boss will yell at me if you don't buy something.
Oh, you don't own this boutique?
No, of course not.
How did you start working here?
I just walked in and said, "Can I work here?" And they said, "Sure."
You had that much confidence at one point? What happened?
Yeah, well, I mean, okay. There was here. Can you please sit down on that vine chair?
Sure.
So
I was actually going to ask you about that. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know it would support. Oh wow.
Yeah, it's $30.
350 pounds. This can hold.
That's $30.
That's super cheap. Anyways, yeah. Tell me.
Well, I used to have all the confidence in the world, and in fact, so much confidence that I did some experimenting with a plant, and it turned out to be mutated.
What do you mean you did some experimenting with the plant?
Well, I just thought that if I did kind of a Frankenstein thing and plant some like human brains.
Cut back to that moment.
Hello, can you hear me? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What do you need from me? What do you need? I can't believe I did this.
Some space. Chill out.
No, are you sure? No. I like, do you need some water? Do you need, some, like, human flesh? I could give you human flesh. Do you want some human flesh? No, I can't. I just want to serve you. I just want to serve you so much.
Some water.
Okay. How much do you want? Do you want sparkling water? Do you want mineral water? Do you want Kool-Aid?
The plant withers away because she takes so long to be able to get the water that it needs, and it dies in front of her, and we go back to that moment in this shop when she's talking to the man.
And then...
So you lost your confidence because you...
Yes, because I couldn't even keep a human-plant hybrid alive. I can't keep anything alive.
I better be on my way. Wait, why can't I get out of my seat?
I didn't tell the full story.
And then you see the plant absorbs the man and sucks him in and eats him.
Is that what you wanted, Master?
Yes. You're still gonna work on that awkwardness.
Okay, you're right. I need to.
Customer service.
You're right. I need to get better at that.
And scene.
Little shop.
I see, right. What's that plant's name? Because the guy's Rick Moranis for Seymour, right?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Planty?
I don't know.
All
something.
Right. Wonderful.
All right. Well, with that, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode. Next week, it'll be a little less informational, a little more of just kind of discussing fun things that we did and different, some more things to do, some more places to eat. Right. And some more improv. So if you want to follow us on social media just to be on the update of when episodes drop.
To be able to communicate with us. I mean, we're going to follow all the comments and discussions. So if you have places for us to go check out and review as well as comments on things that we have done. So our social media is, you can follow us on Facebook, Moving to LA Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Moving to LA Podcast, and at Twitter at Moving to LA Pod. My social media handles are at Jessica Sprague on Instagram, at Jessica_Sprague on Twitter, and Andrews. And I'm Andrew Sprague on Instagram and at A_Sprague on Twitter, so you can catch me on those. We'll make sure everything's in the links, so in the section, so you can just go down and click it. But thank you so much for listening this far. Really appreciate it. Check out next week's episode as we continue the Moving to LA podcast. And to sign off, if you can make it here, you made it here.